Well, I had an epiphany today. Now, what's an epiphany? Well, that's when you get like self-inspired. Or in my case, I got inspired because of the fact that basically somebody did something that I always wanted to do. Combine things. So, there's two guys overseas that are building suspension-based 20-inch BMX. And the reason why I don't call them mountain bikes, even though they're basically free ride 20-inch bikes on mountains, is because they're still running 7 to 9-inch bars on them. So, rise. Maybe kind of fucking short to actually have bars 9 inches wide. But here's the kicker. So another bike company apparently was going to actually make one because of the hype that these guys were creating in their slow-ass process of actually developing an idea. Which I scratched my head at because of the fact that it took them 3 fucking years to actually get their goddamn bike to go down a path without braking. And I don't even think they're to that point where their bike's not braking still. So, I've had enough of it. And I'm not waiting for the big box company to actually make the version of it. I am going to do this half pipe thing this year. Hopefully when this epidemic is all over and shit. But if we get fucked and I can't do the half pipe deal this year, which is going to make me super pissed off because I'm going to be doing it when I'm 41 years old. I don't want to do it when I'm 42. I mean, granted, there's like pro guys that ride half pipe that are 48, but I don't got that muscle memory, and I don't want to put my old body bones in that kind of jeopardy to try to actually remember how to actually pull this off, because it's been a couple years since I actually rode the big boys. So I want to get it done this year. And if I can't, I'm going to get out the TIG welder and I'm going to make the best downhill free ride BMX that the market could ever think about. We're talking titanium crank, because let's face it, even though fingers crossed isn't really going into the explanation of how they're running their frame, they're running a quad bearing on the crank and running the rear suspension off of 2 of those bearings so that it's pivoting off of the crank, which is genius. However, the rest of their bike basically, I don't know. There's companies out there right now that are offering a 20-inch fork that's full suspension, that's air, that's like pro level shit with fully rebuildable dampers and everything. It's taken them this long to actually put one of those on. They've been putting those damn eBay fucking shits on their goddamn bikes and wondering why they were snapping them constantly. But the deal is basically, I can go out right now and buy a $450 to $500 fork and I already have half of the bike. And then basically, I'm contemplating and actually going coil and not an air spring in the rear. And the reason why is because of the fact that, honestly, if I can actually get a coil spring to be as light as I need it to be for a 20-inch bike, because you got to remember, the pivot point's going to be a lot different. So theoretically, it doesn't have to do as much work as a mountain bike would need to. And it doesn't have to throw as much. So therefore, theoretically, because of the fact that a mountain bike coil squishes down more, it theoretically has to do less work per inch. However, its combined pressure is going to be less than a 20-inch, because the 20-inch is only going to actually go in like maybe a half an inch to 3/4 of an inch tops. And that's going to be basically giving the rear end probably close to 3 to 5 inches of travel. Now, on my profile, you'll notice that there is a full suspension mountain bike in that picture. That is a transition bottle rocket. And that is what I will base mine off of. I'll make a 20-inch version of that. But instead of having it pivot off of the back of the crank, so that I actually have to run a derailleur arm to actually kind of keep the fucking chain tension, I'm going to do the fingers crossed method and actually run quad ball bearings and actually build the frame off of the crank. It's not optimal, but if I TIG in extra material, it should be strong enough to actually handle the fucking abuse that this thing's about to actually endure. It's not going to be light. Even if I make it out of full 4130 chromoly, which the donor bike is going to be a full 4130 chromoly bike. And the donor is also going to be basically sacrificed minimal to actually pull the triangle off the rear end to actually do what I want it to do. And then I'll just add pivot points to it that I can actually ride bearings into. All I have to do is just basically find a round stock of 4130, or have a machine shop machine me some 1-inch plate to make bearing holders for the suspension pieces. And theoretically, I'm going to probably need 8 bearings to do the whole damn thing. 4 for the main rear pivot, and actually no, I'm going to probably need 6. Yeah, 6. Because the crank is going to be basically 2 bottom brackets, in line with each other, and then you just basically get the cups and go over. I might have to have the machine shop actually make me cups for that as well. And then basically the fitment of it that fingers crossed isn't really explaining is they're probably actually putting a spacer in between the 4 bearings, in between the sandwich of the inside bearing and outside bearing, to keep those bearings apart. And then because I'm going to make the main crank body for the front triangle smaller, I'm going to have to basically cut the center divider, bearing, bushing, whatever you want, a fucking spacer thing. I'm going to have to cut that in half to make up the void, so that those 2 bearings don't squish together when I squish the whole thing together. Theoretically, if everything works out, the bike should theoretically weigh about, well, what I like, 40-something pounds. I could theoretically run disc brakes. I mean, theoretically, because I'm going to be basically re-engineering the rear triangle anyway, so I might as well basically just run mountain bike hubs. I mean, why not? You can still theoretically buy 110 rear hubs, or I can just go oversized and 145 them bitches, or 148 or whatever the hell it is, and run one of those in the front and one in the back, and basically That'll give me actually more clearance for the bottom bracket, and then just get a bottom bracket crank spindle for oversized bearings, and space out a 1-speed for the rear end, and it's simple. Run maybe hydraulic brakes on it, or, I mean, because in theory, I don't know if the front suspension fork is going to actually have enough clearance to spin all the way around. Not to say I'm going to be basically going down a fucking free ride path or a freaking black diamond and doing bar spins and shit like that. Dude, I'm 40 years old. I'm not going to be doing no bar spin at 25 fucking miles an hour. Fuck that. But in a crash, you don't want that front fork, that suspension, fucking coming around and hitting that chromoly frame. Because what's going to give out? Yeah, the fucking aluminum hat on the crown that's on that fucking, that fork. And you might actually lose one of your fucking, forks. Because it's basically whacking it with a hammer. And, those tubes aren't pressed in. As much as Fox and all those other companies want to fucking say that they are, they're not. They're basically, they heat them and cool them and then use a compound to actually glue them in there. Once they contract, and then they basically like make up the void. It's a microscopic amount of glue that's in there, but they're still glued. So in theory, if you whack the shit out of the fucking crown of the top of the fucking fork, it'll bust those loose. Because it's going to kind of warp it a little bit. And, you know, it's just going to happen. So, I'm probably going to have to run some sort of spacer on the bottom to shoot the bottom bearing up to give that fork a little bit of clearance to actually go through the fork. And I'm probably going to have to use a mid-school frame with the fork that goes up into a gusset and then straight into the head. If I can actually do this, I probably can actually build one of these bikes if I can find out that basically the epidemic isn't going to be solved before freaking summertime. Then I'm going to probably have to go with building the bike. And I'll probably could do the whole damn thing in probably less than 3 weeks. Which doesn't say that much for fucking fingers crossed. And everybody else is going to be like, well, you just copycatted them. Like, no, I've been thinking about doing this for freaking years. Because I never liked mountain biking. I liked doing dirt and I liked doing vert. I only bought a mountain bike because of the fact that I thought that's what old BMXers do. And that's the only reason why I have a bottle rocket. I went out and bought normal freaking mountain bikes and I can't stand them. The damn tires are too damn big for me. I'm 5'6". What the fuck do I need a 29er for? Like, goddamn, it's like going down the damn road on a jacked up Harley. Fucking things they're light, but because of how big they are, they feel heavy as shit. Because they have so much rotating mass in those dumbass wheels. It's like, the only reason why I got damn 29ers fast is because of the fact that the rotating mass of it doesn't allow you to slow down. Jesus fucking Christ. But, I digress. This needs to happen. Because what I believe at this point in time, and in this moment in time, that 2021 is going to lead into 2022, which this is going to happen at an industry standard. There's already one big box company basically holding off on it because of the fact that they want to give credit, the fingers crossed, even though it basically is developing like a third world country project. They've been taking 3 fucking years to do it. How much longer do we as a fucking community have to fucking wait? It's taken so goddamn long that the thing about it is even fucking fingers crossed guys are going, yeah, if you don't want to wait, you should build one. Well, guess what? That's what I'm going to fucking do. But I'm going to build mine proper. Because I don't need to go to freaking Profile and get their damn disc brake set up 110s. I can fucking go to any freaking mountain bike store and buy some generic ass hubs and throw them on there. Because what's the difference between a gosh dang freaking, because I can guarantee you it's not a Proline profile. Meaning it doesn't have like the high-end Apex 7 bearings and the fucking titanium fucking, shaft and stops in it. It's not. I can guarantee you the hubs that they made, fingers crossed, and they made the big box company that I'm not going to fucking name, they made them entry level. So if I go and order one through freaking Profile, well, a pair, because I'm going to need a front and a rear, they're probably going to charge me the same amount of money that I could basically go and go to a mountain bike store and actually buy some moderately sized hubs with a standard Shimano fucking mountain bike cassette. And all I have to do is just basically run a freaking a 13 on there. I mean, I could probably run a 12. And I'd still be able to freaking clear it. And theoretically, I don't need to put a freaking BMX chain on it. I could actually run a 12-speed chain. So in theory, I could probably actually get away with a 10-speed. I mean, a 10-tooth on there. But I think 11 or 12 is probably going to be the best option. And then basically just run a mountain bike crank. It will work. And it ain't going to cost me that much money. Their research and development of their 3-year project at fingers crossed, they've probably dumped what I'm about to dump into this project in a matter of a month in their 3 years. Because like I said, it's a third world project. Like they're working out of some, I swear to God, dude, they're working out of a fucking barn of a freaking shop. Nothing against them. But they're taking too damn long. And anybody in the fucking BMX industry knows that if you have a good idea, you bring it to the big guys, and then you take your cut, and then let them do it. If you want to start up your own fucking bike company, and everybody's fucking tried to do this on social media and everything and proved it, that going over to fucking China and actually having frames custom made is a fucking big money deal. It ain't cheap. They want you to make fucking like X amount of them. And when I say X ain't a small number. It's a big number. So you need backing. You need a place for those frames to go. You need an assembly team. You need a backing of parts and everything. How the fuck do you think Fingers Crossed is actually going to pull that off? Their idea is not mind-boggling. They'll make a company out of this, but it's going to be on the backbones of somebody else. And they're stupid that they didn't jump on the bandwagon and perfected their idea on that other big box company and then let them bring that to the market the way that they wanted to. Because I can guarantee you, Fingers Crossed is not bringing their bike in 2021. It might be ready 2022. And I think that that's what the deadline for that other company is. So, everybody be prepared. We're about to have a new fad. And I ain't talking fucking jet fuel shit, and I ain't talking fucking a new dumb trick you can do at the local park, and then everybody starts doing it at the X Games, and everybody thinks it's a fucking cool trick. Nah, I'm talking a real fad. Like, this is going to be game changer. Us BMX guys are going to finally be able to actually take our bikes to the fucking mountains and actually ride. And I already got the path at Silver Mountain that I'm going to be fucking test rigging this thing on. And it ain't a fucking goddamn blue trail or anything like they're riding in their fucking test videos. Well, okay, they did ride some jump lines too, but like primarily when they're showing them doing their freaking like their main like path videos, they're on blue lines. They're not green. I mean, they're blue. I mean, it's intermediate, but they're not on black fucking like flow lines. Occasionally they have a jump line video, but they're not doing them constantly. I'm going to build this bike for Hammer at Silver, which is going to be fucking great. And it's going to have BMX bars. And it's going to be a BMX frame. But it's just going to be hacked a little bit. And magic's going to hum out of it. I've done it before with the fucking electrics. Now let me do it with the fucking BMX. Yeah, that's the one thing most people don't know about me is I fucking was cutting edge back in the day when lead acid was still cool. I gave it up when the lithium came out because it was way out of my price range to actually keep on growing my channel. Like literally, lithium destroyed my YouTube channel. Because I couldn't compete. And the only way I could actually compete was actually get my batteries made in China. And there were having people have fucking cells blow up on them. And it ain't like a fucking lead acid battery where it blows up and you get a little bit of acid on your fucking self. No, these things blow up. There's like multiple layers of them. And they start going off like fucking firecrackers. And keep in mind that basically like, I don't know if you ever seen a Tesla fucking blow up. But, it's like fucking M80s on jets. They just go flying out. And they're fucking chugging freaking 1800 to 2800, like, Fahrenheit gas coming out of the back cap of that thing. That's the reason why they don't make fire. They're just going Chernobyl pretty much. So I think that's going to be my backdrop to if the half pipe thing doesn't work out. Now, don't get me wrong. I already got the half pipe built bike, like literally, it is 90% done. I just have a couple more parts that are coming in to finish it off. And then I will have the build video probably next week, because that's when I expect all the parts to be in for it. And I'm going to go through it and do a once over, and then I'm going to do a rebuild on it with fucking full video of it. And I should actually have the bike done on video in less than 30 minutes. So, again, no editing, because I don't like editing. I just don't... I don't think that these guys are going to make the deadline. And I really honestly believe that they're on to something. But it's something nobody else has wanted to fucking actually go into. But meanwhile, most people didn't realize how simple the solution was. I could look at their bike and I knew exactly what their solution was. Because of the way the geometry of the frame was. I knew that they did quad bearing. Until I finally looked at their videos and actually found them to do a breakdown and a bike check on their frame. And it took half of the video before he admitted that he was running a fucking quad fucking bearing. Now, what they're doing isn't cheap. So when you expect these bikes to come out, do not compare them to a 20-inch fucking full suspension kiddie bike from Walmart. These bikes are going to have high-end components. There's a reason why their forks were breaking. Because of the fact that they were running Walmart-grade forks. And they didn't have the front geometry set up right yet. So it was basically like, it was beating the forks out of the yoke. Or, was it the yoke? Whatever. Fucking the crown. I don't know. But the deal is these bikes are going to probably have higher end suspension on them than what you get at a Walmart. I mean, Walmart's is starting to come out with fucking air suspension on some of their higher end fucking shit that you can buy in store. But the majority of them are just fucking spring over fucking a cylinder that has no gas or anything in it. They've been doing that since like the 90s. Well, what do you expect more for a $180 fucking full suspension bike? But it's doable. And it's buildable at the hobby rate of around $2,000. Meaning I pay for all the expenses of actually building it. Now, bike manufacturing is different though. When they can actually come in and actually buy an allotment, like what I was saying. When you go to China, they want you to have X amount of frames built, which is usually 1,000 run or 500 run. Of course, different sizes and everything, but grand spec of it, they want you to make a fucking shit ton of them so they can keep their people fucking working. Because it's China. You give them an order for 100, they can have that shit done in a week. And when you go to fucking Shimano or Fox or RockShox and then put a fucking mass order to actually equip all of these bikes that you just had China make, the price goes down significantly. So it might cost me $2,000 to actually make it, but at the end of the story, when these come out to be offered, don't think that they're a cheap bike at $1,500. You're getting a lot. That's straight up. I don't expect them to make them out of carbon fiber. I don't expect them to make them out of aluminum. I expect them to make them out of tank material out of 4130. And if they make them out of aluminum, they're fucking nuts. Because unbeknownst to anybody, the smaller the frame with moving parts, the more structural fucking weakness it's going to have. Because you're going to try and shave weight because of the fact that you're not going to have the chainring to actually push this bike. So theoretically, no matter what, it's going to be a heavy bike. So if you try and make it light, which the bike companies will, they're going to make it basically destructible. And, I mean, think about it. When it comes down to like basically big box stores right now, and big box companies, when did all the frames start breaking? It was in the last 10 years. Why? Because they started to make bikes lighter. 10 years prior to that, mountain bikes, BMX bikes, even fucking road bikes. I mean, to an extent. Competition road bikes, different story. But 10, 20 years ago, road bikes in most people's mind were bike packing bikes. So bike manufacturers were actually making them strong. Even though they were making them out of aluminum or carbon fiber or whatnot, they were still making them fucking massively strong. And they were making them overkill. Nowadays, they're not fucking making them overkill anymore. They're cutting corners, and they're making things really fucking stupid thin. Take mountain bikes. Like, last year I watched 5 frames fucking crack on silver. And it wasn't because of riding. It was because basically some guy let go. The bike went flung, just fucking hit a rock. Just exploded the fucking frame. why would you buy carbon fiber if that's going to be the issue? Aluminum. You're fucking just hauling ass. And you're on a goddamn freaking flow line. Just everything's going perfect. And you snap your front triangle. Why? They're not gusseted. They're not built like tanks anymore. Add weight to the bike. The riding experience can be better because of the fact that you can trust your rig to not fucking fracture. Why was it? It was back in the day, we rode our bikes. We didn't give a fuck about fucking looking at them. Now part of bike maintenance is to clean it, then inspect it. To make sure that you don't have any cracks on any of the fucking welds. Well, why would you have cracks on the welds? Oh yeah, because they're not made in America anymore. Nothing against the Chinese guys. But apparently they don't know how to TIG. It'll take a rocket scientist to TIG. Most people can learn TIG in like a week. You get the concept down. It takes like 2 years to actually understand the science of TIG. To actually learn how to actually manipulate how you're doing it so that you're blending the metals and not just fucking putting a fucking weld over them. That's the reason why TIG actually is really nice. Because if you actually watch TIG in slow motion, both metals melt. And then the fill is really not that big of a deal. It's there to basically kind of like... The rod itself is just there to arc the fucking two surfaces together. And then the two surfaces actually blend in. That's a TIG. And, maybe fucking these Chinese people don't fucking know that. I mean, case in point. Look at old stainless bikes from China and Japan. Blah, 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 blah. I could have done a better job with a goddamn flux core fucking piece of shit wire welder. Okay, maybe not. But big could have been close. But, so, basically 2022, expect these BMX full suspensions to go for about $1,500. Start saving up. It's going to be fucking one hell of a ride. And it's going to be the new deal. And I hope so. Because all these dumbass kids have destroyed all the things that us older guys hold dear in our past. Real bike parks. Fucking half pipes. We didn't go to the goddamn skate parks that people rode skateboards and scooters at. Rollerblades. Even though, like I said in the past, gotta respect them rollerbladers. They put it all out there. It's just a shame. 2022. If I got my bike built, I don't give a shit about skate parks and half pipes. I'd be going up the goddamn mountain and actually riding this thing. Because I'll tell you what, loam and dirt, as long as you're not hitting rock, it's a lot softer than wood. Well, and tree stumps suck. Lost a helmet over that last year. Oh, that fucking hurt. But it is what it is. And if people want to fucking progress, this is the path of progression. BMX is at its plateau. Mountain biking. They're reinventing it right now. Why do you think XC and fucking the hell is that, gravel bikes and shit? Why do you think that's coming out? Why do you think that that's a thing? Because mountain bikes have plateaued. They need to fill in the fucking margin so they don't lose their base of people buying their shit. BMX is the same way right now. I'm telling you. There's going to be 4 more fucking manufacturers that are going to jump on board with this fucking goddamn full suspension and free ride bullshit. It'll be to the point where it'll be the new competition. And, yeah. Guess what's going to happen in 4 fucking years when this is all come true, you know, and everything? I'm going to be basically telling you that I've already said it. That's fact. What else are we going to do on 20-inch? Kids these days aren't even doing half the tricks we were doing 10 years ago. No? Yeah, there's the majority of them that basically can't do shit. And then you got the choice few that they'll actually send it and do flares and shit like that. But it's only a handful. There's not that many. We're talking probably 60 riders in the whole fucking world right now that can actually ride competition grade. And 30 of those riders can't even make it to a show because, you know, they're not known. Because you got all these goddamn influencers on YouTube that basically want to show off their tail whips and fucking bar spins and shit like that. Whole goddamn videos, tail whips and bar spins. And fucking fakies. Like, how do you build your whole fucking goddamn community on bar spins and fakies and tail whips? And maybe a 360 here and there. You ain't doing backflips. You ain't doing fucking flares and shit. Maybe in a foam pit or a fucking goddamn resin fucking pipe or something, but still. No. YouTube BMX is Special Olympics right now. I sound like a grumpy ass old man, I know. But sometimes grumpy old men are telling you the fucking truth. Because we're pissed off. The only thing left for us is basically collecting of bikes. I mean, look, listen. I love the 990. The 990 brake is my holy grail of brakes. There's guys out there right now buying Bulldog brakes. Odyssey tried to make a brake that was like a 990 that you could fit on shit. You know, before basically S&M made the fucking 990 plate that you could put a 990 on anything that didn't have a 990 on it in the first place. The Bulldog's a piece of shit. I can go out right now and buy Dicont 990s NOS. Meaning they're still in the fucking bag for fucking $55. Yeah. Or Diatex. Diatex I can get cheaper. A working Bulldog from Odyssey, because it had so many parts in it, a working one that's not that beat up and working, $150 fucking dollars for a fucking heavy ass brake. We're talking 3 times the weight of a 990. They weren't light. When they first came out, they had a steel back on them. Then they made them with aluminum backs. But even the aluminum ones were fucking heavy. It's a massive amount of aluminum for fucking braking. Massive. And then they had these little tiny ass rollers that the triangle would get pulled through to make the fucking brake close up. Then those rollers would lock up over time because of the fact that, you know, it's aluminum. And they're steel. You ever pull lug nuts off a fucking wheel on a car? See all that oxidation? That ain't from fucking goddamn weather. That's from fucking goddamn steel being on the aluminum. Aluminum does not like heavier metals touching it. It instantaneously oxidizes. So, if aluminum doesn't like other metals, and you embed bearings for that fucking triangle pulling thing, hence a working bulldog. Most people will say they work, but that goddamn triangle is just basically grinding against those fucking locked up bearings. People don't even know it, because back in the day, everybody knew that they pulled hard. I mean, shit, you put them on a goddamn freaking, on a gyro setup on the rear wheel, and they were known to actually snap gyro cables, because the gyro itself would put a little bit of strain on the cables, because of the fact that basically you were splitting cables into three. So theoretically, like, basically when it comes down to it, people just don't fucking have a clue to where to go with this. And they're dumping money into stupid shit instead of reinvesting it back into BMX and actually building BMX to another generation. Where's the future? It's not fucking tail whips and fucking bar spins, I'll tell you that right now. Take all the brakes off my bike, I could do fucking tail whips and bar spins too. But you know what? I'd much rather do it with fucking brakes on, because it makes it look cleaner. And I can do them faster, because I can go in a lot harder. And then basically if I fucking go, I don't know, I can hit the brakes and fucking pull out. But it is what it is. And the adults don't care anymore. Except for the fucking people that were basically pro level back in the day. They kind of care. But even they look at it and, like, you know, there was a half pipe competition 2 years ago, and they asked all of the old dog fucking vert riders and the guys that are just kind of like in it, like they got in it like when it was going out of style, and they're like, is vert riding dead? You know what their answer was? If it's dead, it's not dead to me. And at the end all of end all, that basically means they don't give a fuck as long as they can still do it. They don't want to progress the sport, and they don't want to basically carry it over. And I get it. A lot of them have kids, and they don't want to fucking see the youth doing the shit that they were doing when they were that young. But the thing about it is people are stupid. And they'll do crazy and insane shit when they're 20. Take those idiots fucking doing grinds on fucking like 20 to 50 fucking stair rails. Fucking goddamn peg toboggan. At a 45 degrees slant, and you hit the fucking sidewalk at Mach 10. You're like, I didn't pull it off the first time, I gotta put a new wheel on. But that's it. I mean, basically when it comes down to it, the adults don't care because of the fact that they don't want other people's kids fucking getting hurt. It's X Games, buddies. People are always gonna get fucking hurt. BMX is, it's not fucking safe, but as long as you're wearing protection, it's safe. Yeah, you like fucking throw a shoulder out or something like that. But instead of you guys fucking basically making the goddamn industry digress into a fucking pile of shit and have no goddamn future for the sport, why not fucking get out there and actually tell these fucking nimrods at the goddamn skate parks, hey, maybe wear a helmet and some fucking pads. You don't have to buy those goofy-ass 80s pads anymore. My Fox pads are fucking, like, low profile. I can wear them underneath my pants. You won't even know I'm wearing them. Because they got that compression foam shit. They turn rock hard when they get fucking impact. Trust me, I fucking whacked a tree with the goddamn things. It took almost like 4 seconds for this my shoulder was like fucking like this. It just turned rock hard for about a couple seconds. And it's amazing stuff. I got them for my knees, shins, fucking elbows, freaking everything. I want to get a back guard with the stuff too. But it's safety equipment. That's all you got to do. Especially in modern generation where all these kids have to do is get to ride these fucking death bowls. Death bowls and death domes. Look, concrete party. Woo! Fucking just smashing your fucking head open. I'll go street riding with no helmet. Yeah, that's fucking great. Fucking random ass obstacles that you can get impaled by and shit. Not wearing no fucking helmet. Hey, and you see them always. They're fucking like doing these obstacles, and then all of a sudden they gotta fucking ride out into the street after they fucking completed their task. With no protection. What's preventing you from fucking putting your head through some guy's fucking windshield? It ain't like the fucking movies. Your head goes through that fucking windshield, you get decapitated. Then if you don't get decapitated, your fucking jugular gets cut off. You literally have to fucking die in this guy's fucking goddamn, his lap inside his car. Fucking horrible. Guy just killed somebody. Just randomly. He's just driving down the road getting some Dunkin' Donuts. All of a sudden some kid on a bicycle fucking comes flying out in front of him. Fucking 20 fucking miles an hour. Head through the fucking goddamn glass. Yep. Now he's got to live with that. You know, because you didn't want to wear a fucking helmet. And you wanted to do street riding out into the fucking street. All because you wanted to do that fakie over the goddamn fucking, that 15 stair fucking handrail. Throw a little bar spin in there too. It's not gonna go anywhere. BMX is pretty much fucking dead. Unless we basically like converge it with mountain biking and actually make a new free ride fucking sport. And I kind of hope that the big companies actually step up to this, because when it comes down to it, they can only sell jet fuel parts and other shitty ass parts as fads for so long before basically they have to fucking reinvest it, and then 5 years down the line fucking start the process all over again. Hey, guess what? Jet fuel is fucking back again. Yeah, why don't you bring back bell bottoms and them goddamn fucking members only jackets too? Fucking cream colored bicycles and shit. Yeah. It is what it is. That's my 2 cents. It's fucking almost taking an hour to fucking expel. I didn't want to make it go this long. But you know what? Somebody had to bring it up. You don't want BMX dead? This is how we got to do it. A free ride. Woo!